I'm wondering how many of you are familiar with this blue dog? Well, for those who are not, this is Bluey, an Australian preschool program about a family of 4 dogs, Bluey and Bingo and Chili and Bandit. Now, Bluey is getting a lot of praise, not just by children and adults alike, but developmental psychologists, and me. Thanks to writer Joe Brum's focus on child psychology, Bluey is refreshing in its handling of parenting and children's learning. And today I want to draw attention to a particular episode that is very well written, Rug Island. On Rug Island, Bluey's dad Bandit struggles to engage with his daughter's make-believe game about a deserted island, constructed from rugs, pens, and plants. Bandit feels out of touch with his playful side, but eventually loosens up into the pretend of the game, saying, "I could stay here forever," in relaxation. Now, on a surface level, this is just a sweet story about a father and his daughters playing a game together. But it's actually a far more profound example of the healing powers of play. And I think Bandit's disconnection with play is something a lot of adults can relate to. So I want you to think back to a time where you were completely immersed in play. Whatever that word means to you. Can you? Well, we remember these moments fondly, not just for their fun, but because they will have supported our emotional, cognitive, and social development without us even noticing. And if play is that powerful, why do we ever stop playing as we grow up? Well, I'm here to talk to you about why you should keep on playing, and how grown-ups, like Bandit, can get re-involved with play and rediscover playful sides of themselves, and adapt our lifestyles to be more playful. Firstly, I'd like to talk about the science of play in child psychology, and Bluey. Vygotsky, an early pioneer in the field, suggested that play is a process which allows children to reach their full potential, where they can learn at their own controlled pace. Play helps to create a space where the basic functions of the brain are developed exponentially, expanding thinking and problem solving. He also believed that the social context of learning was very important, and that it was an interplay of thought, action, and interaction. Another psychologist, Piaget, who inspired Vygotsky, takes on a more internal stance, where development is fostered from within the child themselves. He refers to them as little scientists who explore and experiment through play, making sense of their world. Now, I've introduced you to them quite basically, but I do think that these psychologists both show the importance of play, and their theories demonstrate the impact that it has on our development. Now, whilst this impact is quite complex, there are a couple of elements I'd like to pick out and put into context, particularly for their potential value to adults as well as children. Using Bluey as a case study, we see how play helps children and adults to emotionally regulate, think creatively, and build social connections. For example, in one episode where Bluey's mum leaves for a baby shower in the evening, Bluey is left at home with her dad, missing her. But after almost calling her to come home, Bluey stops and decides to play a game in which she acts out the evening, casting herself as mum and leaving her anxious child, Snowdrop, at home. This demonstrates the concepts of child psychology, of how make-believe play helps children to safely feel and explore their emotions, creating an environment to manage stress, sadness, and even frustration, both in social and internal contexts. Creative thinking is also underpinned. Calling back to Rug Island, felt tip pens are used as food, tools, and even snakes. Bandit describes a felt tip pen he is given by his daughter as everything. This powerfully illustrates another concept of Vygotsky, that when children detach the meaning of one object to another, such as the floor being lava, they are forced to rely on their thoughts to engage in the game. This does wonders for their creative thinking. To be forced to use limited play resources, such as objects or toys, to create anything, children become creators, inventors, and storytellers, enriching their language development and enabling their imaginations to become endless. That's magical. And it makes me think back to some of the ridiculous games that me and my brothers played as children. Whether it was drawing fantasy worlds, tea parties, or scooter Grand Prix, we all remember back to the fun and imagination and creativity that made those moments so special. And when we all think back nostalgically to childhood, I think it's that magic that we made which we miss so much. But just as Bluey's Bandit gets re-involved with play, so can the entire adult world. Rug Island shows to further highlight how the benefits of play can be reached by adults as well as children. But we have a problem. We lose touch with the magic. Just like Bandit, as we grow up, we sacrifice emotional expression, our limitless minds, and our fun, labeling play as silly, childish, and a luxury, not something we need. Meanwhile, things like formality, structure, and severity are praised and prioritized. Now, whilst these of course have their place in certain contexts, I feel in others we are massively losing out on important parts of ourselves by being so rigid. Creating an adult lifestyle that has an element of playfulness obviously looks different from children's play. But modern research is suggesting that adapting to be more playful just takes doing something that we enjoy for the sake of enjoyment, with no ulterior motives. For adults, this kind of unstructured play can provide stress relief, and in a similar way to children, an outlet for emotional regulation. Researchers Yarnell and Kean suggest playful regulation can help adults manage stress and process emotions. When we engage in activities we enjoy, we stimulate different chemical releases, such as dopamine and endorphins, which bring us pleasure, alleviate pain, and decrease our stress levels, improving our mood. Yarnell and Kean further suggest that playfulness becomes a beneficial emotional resource, which allows adults to navigate situations with resilience and positivity. More research suggests that play elevates positive emotions and allows individuals to develop coping mechanisms, and that play elevates positive emotions even further. Play further stimulates our brains due to active participation. In a passive world of scrolling and watching, it allows us to think creatively, improving our problem solving in a similar way to children. Finally, it builds our social connections. We are and always have been social animals, and like when we were children making friends for the first time, when we are playful together, it creates a safe environment where people are more experimental and we strengthen communication and honesty. A specific study conducted by Huddersfield University also investigated what playfulness and play mean to adults and found frequent themes of humor, positive emotions, and self-expressions as key takeaways from play. Now, whilst a lot of this modern research is just beginning, it already emphasizes playfulness's lifelong significance and suggests how it can improve our well-being. But how? I hear you question. How on earth do we become more playful in a world that seems to want us not to be? Well, I think the truth is that it's not necessarily easy, but we have to try if we want to create change in our culture and our lives. On an individual level, I think we can try to put effort in to make small adjustments to start doing more of what we enjoy, even if that's from zero to something. I personally enjoy improvising creatively, drawing, playing my guitar, and going for long walks. Now, these were all things I did before I knew they were play as such, and there are likely similar activities in your lives. It may also help to identify what type of play personality you have. Created by Dr. Stuart Brown, he puts forward 8 play personalities shown here that may help you to identify what you enjoy and learn to value it in your life and incorporate it into your daily activities. I took a few quizzes and was assigned creator, which is pretty accurate for me and aligns with a lot of my memorable childhood play as well, which is also a strong indicator of what you truly enjoy. On a more outward level, we can transfer some of this playfulness into working environments. Obviously, not every job can have us playing a game. We do not want surgeons to start playing cricket mid-operation. But there are more simple aspects of playfulness that can definitely be incorporated into working environments, such as humor, that can help us improve our connections and feel more relaxed and less self-conscious in a bustling world. Companies such as Pixar and Google are already trying to foster a more playful culture, and they're already seeing massive benefits in creativity and employee well-being. Not every workspace will obviously have the same budget to make physical changes, but we can follow their lead on the social attitudes of play. And this will look different in every sector, but the adaptations are already proving to create a more stable working environment and allow for an increased sense of community. So consider bringing this conversation to the table if you're given the opportunity. Conclusively, I think we know that playing is good for us, because it does feel good when we do the things that we enjoy. But whether we are embarrassed by the silliness of it, or forget its importance to us, it helps to remember its purpose and the many benefits it can have for our well-being. Play is not just for children. It's a lifelong tool that builds connections and aids you to be more in tune with yourself and your needs. So, in the next week or so, I want everyone to try and do at least one playful thing for themselves. Something that feels good. Then see if you can make that a habit. Allow yourself to be spontaneous and unstructured, to laugh or explore something new. Let yourself play just because it feels good. Have some fun and don't feel guilty about it. Thank you.